Hey, smile when you win, but their eyes don't. They praise you, then suddenly disappear when you need them most. You feel drained after every conversation, confused, doubtful, like somehow you're always the one apologizing. You can't quite explain it, but deep down you know you're being played. And here's the brutal truth. This isn't by accident. It's a system, a script, a silent war. Machiavelli didn't call them manipulators. He called them strategists. And today, you become one too. Manipulation doesn't begin with words. It begins with your ignorance. The moment you believe everyone has good intentions, you've already lost. There's a silent war happening around you, a psychological battlefield where the smartest don't scream, they study, where the most dangerous people smile while stabbing. And if you're still out here thinking being nice will protect you, you're already a target. Machiavelli never said trust no one. He said trust only when it benefits you. That's rule number one in a world built on influence. Let's expose the game before it swallows you. You've been manipulated since childhood by parents who taught guilt as love, by friends who disguise control as concern, by society that sells submission as virtue, and you accepted it. Why? Because manipulators don't ask for your permission, they ask for your confusion. Machiavelli saw this centuries ago. He knew the powerful don't dominate by force. They dominate by creating illusions. A manipulator doesn't pull strings. He makes you tie the knot yourself. Look around, the flattery, the guilt trips, the fake apologies, the just trying to help speeches, they're weapons. You're being studied, your insecurities are being cataloged, your habits are being tracked. And when the time is right, you'll be pushed, poked, pressured, all without ever realizing it. The most effective manipulation doesn't feel like manipulation. It feels like love, like friendship, like respect. That's why you need to kill your emotional reflexes. Stop rewarding kindness blindly. Stop giving energy to people who haven't earned your trust, because manipulators thrive on your politeness, your silence, your desperation to be liked. And here's the brutal truth. If you crave approval, you're already controlled. Machiavelli's genius was in his detachment. He didn't see people as they presented themselves. He saw their intentions. He knew a kind gesture might be bait, a compliment might be currency, a request might be a leash. To become immune to manipulation, you must adopt this mindset. What does this person gain from my reaction? Every time someone speaks, asks, flatters, criticizes you, pause, dissect, assume there's a reason, and analyze it coldly. This doesn't make you paranoid. It makes you untouchable, because the manipulated man is always emotional, and the Machiavellian man is always strategic. Let's get one thing straight. Emotional purity is weakness in the hands of the unguarded. If your kindness has no boundary, your mind has no protection. Manipulators only need one thing to control you: your assumptions. They'll act weaker than they are to make you drop your guard. They'll pretend to need you to make you feel important. They'll agree with you so you stop questioning them. This isn't empathy, it's entrapment. Start asking questions no one wants you to ask. Why do they need me to believe this? What happens if I say no? What are they not telling me? Machiavelli believed that power belongs to the one who defines the terms. So define them. Set your rules, your pace, your expectations. And when someone tries to rush you, charm you, guilt you, you stop. You reset. You take the emotion out and put strategy in. If they flinch when you stop reacting, they were trying to control you. If they push harder when you create space, they weren't genuine. Let them show their discomfort when you don't play along. That's where their mask slips. They won't scream, they'll whisper. They won't demand, they'll suggest. And before you even realize it, your decisions are no longer yours. You start second-guessing yourself, wondering why you feel unsure, why you hesitate, why their words linger in your mind like chains. That's manipulation, silent, subtle, deadly. Manipulators don't overpower you. They don't need to. They infect your judgment, one suggestion at a time. They twist guilt into obedience, confusion into dependence, and flattery into loyalty. And you, unaware, call it love, friendship, leadership. Machiavelli would tell you, never judge a person by how they act when they want something. Judge them by what they make you give up. Manipulators use guilt to keep you submissive. They convince you that saying no makes you selfish, but in truth, your boundaries threaten their control. So they reframe your strength as cruelty, your clarity as arrogance. Then they sow confusion. One day you're their savior, the next their villain. They rewrite the past, twist your words, and pretend nothing happened. It's not about logic. It's about destabilizing your reality. And when you finally begin to break, they use praise, not because they admire you, but because they need you to stay addicted to their approval. It's emotional bait dressed up as affection. Machiavelli knew the answer. The moment you spot the pattern, act. Don't wait for the perfect sign. Don't explain yourself. Don't argue. Just observe silently, then reclaim control. When you stop reacting emotionally, you take away their only weapon. Detachment becomes power. Calm becomes resistance. And unreadability becomes your armor. You don't need to fight them. You need to become immune to them. That's how you end the game before it begins. The key to defeating manipulation is understanding that it's not about what they do to you. It's about what they make you do to yourself. Manipulators don't need to break you physically or verbally. They only need to erode your confidence in your own thoughts, your own decisions, and once that happens, they've won. They control your mind, your actions, your reality. But the moment you stop doubting yourself, you reclaim your sovereignty. You stop needing their validation. You stop feeling guilty for setting boundaries. You stop questioning your instincts. In that space of inner certainty, their influence crumbles. They need your compliance to survive, and when you stop complying, they lose their power. You see, they prey on one thing above all else, your emotional reaction. They feed off your need to be liked, to be accepted, to be seen as good. The moment you stop being dependent on those things, their tools become useless. Praise no longer convinces you. Guilt no longer sways you. Flattery no longer charms you. And once you stop reacting, you enter a new realm, detachment. Detachment is not about ignoring people or becoming cold. It's about observing without involvement. You take in their words, their actions, but they no longer control you. You see them for what they are, not for what they want you to believe. Machiavelli taught us that power doesn't lie in how much you give, but in how much you keep for yourself. The more you retain, your focus, your energy, your clarity, the stronger you become. Your boundaries become an impenetrable wall, and manipulators are like water. They can't seep through. They may try to undermine, twist, or create doubt, but you remain unshaken, unmoved. Your center remains intact. In this game of manipulation, the strongest weapon is your indifference. The less you care about their approval, the more you control the dynamic. When they see that their tactics have no effect, they will either give up or expose themselves for what they truly are, weak, insecure, and desperate. Don't be fooled by their pleas. Don't get trapped in their web of confusion and guilt. Recognize the signs early and then detach. Silence your emotions. Let them fight for your attention and watch them fail. The moment you stop engaging, you turn the tables. They lose. You win. Manipulation thrives on your need to react. Stop reacting and you render them powerless. Stay calm. Stay composed. Stay detached. That's how you make them realize that their game is over. And from that point on, you can choose how to play or whether to play at all. As you master detachment, you begin to see the world differently. You see how manipulators weave their webs, how they play the long game using subtle tactics to ensnare their prey. But by no longer reacting, you strip them of their greatest weapon, your emotional involvement. They no longer hold the strings to your decisions, your actions, or your sense of self-worth. It's crucial to understand that manipulation is about control. Control over your time, your energy, your choices, your emotions. But the moment you realize that no one can control your mind without your consent, you free yourself from their grasp. You stop letting them dictate how you feel or what you do. You stop giving them the power to shape your reality. They will try different strategies. They will test your resolve, probe your weaknesses, push your buttons. But when you're grounded in your own truth and self-worth, their tactics are rendered ineffective. They will begin to notice the change in you, and that's when they get desperate. They may escalate their efforts, becoming more overt in their manipulation. But here's the catch. The harder they push, the more obvious they make their intentions. And when their intentions are obvious, you gain an advantage. Remember, manipulators thrive in ambiguity. The moment you see them for what they are and detach from their emotional influence, their control begins to slip away. You become unreadable. They don't know what you'll do next, and that uncertainty makes them uncomfortable. It's in this discomfort that they lose their power over you. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop caring about the things they use to control you. You stop reacting to their guilt trips, their flattery, their emotional manipulation. Instead, you respond only when necessary. And when you do, your response is measured, calm, and calculated. You've become a master of emotional intelligence, understanding that your true power lies in your ability to remain steady, to not let anyone or anything disturb your peace. Machiavelli's wisdom is clear. Never give others the ability to determine your course. You must control your own decisions and actions, or others will do it for you. When you stop being predictable, stop giving them the satisfaction of seeing you flinch, stop showing them any emotional vulnerability, they lose their grip. Their attempts to manipulate fall flat, and their power begins to crumble. And once you've gained this mastery over yourself, you realize something even more profound. You don't need to fight back. You don't need to confront them directly. You simply need to withdraw your energy, your emotional involvement, and let them expose themselves. In doing so, you turn the situation into a game of chess, where you're always several moves ahead. You've anticipated their tactics, you've seen the patterns, and now you're immune to them. When you can detach with precision and remain focused on your own goals, your own inner strength, nothing can move you. Not guilt, not flattery, not fear. You no longer need to play by their rules. You make your own. And when you do this, you transcend the manipulation. You reclaim your power, your control, and your peace. As you gain control over your own emotions and actions, the dynamics around you shift. You no longer play by the rules set by manipulators. Instead, you define your own rules. And in doing so, you become unpredictable and untouchable. The more you hold your ground, the more you reveal the weakness in their tactics. Manipulators thrive on consistency. They need to know how you'll respond. The moment you stop giving them the satisfaction of predicting your actions, you take away their leverage. They can't keep manipulating someone they can't read. Their strategies become obsolete, and the game becomes one-sided. Their attempts to twist reality or rewrite history will fall flat. When you stop engaging with their narrative, they may try to guilt-trip you, but without emotional investment, guilt loses its power. They may try to flatter you, but without the need for approval, flattery loses its charm. What you've learned in the process is the power of silence and observation. Manipulators are masters of pulling you into their emotional whirlwind, but silence is a force they can't control. When you remain calm and detached, you become like water, fluid, adaptable, but impossible to trap. They can't cling to you. They can't push you into their desired direction. You simply flow, unaffected by their schemes. At the core of this power lies a profound understanding. The more you become immune to manipulation, the more you empower others around you to do the same. You stop being a passive participant in someone else's game, and instead, you become a leader who shapes your own fate. You set the tone for your relationships, not them. You set the terms, not them. Your peace is no longer negotiable. They may try to come at you from different angles. They may use guilt, charm, praise, or confusion. But as long as you remain steadfast, clear in your purpose and intent, their words become nothing more than noise. Your silence is no longer a void. It is a fortress guarding your peace, your boundaries, your sense of self. In the end, manipulators are only as powerful as the control you give them. Once you stop surrendering your power, their influence fades into irrelevance. You're no longer a pawn in their game, but the one who determines the moves. Their attempts to twist your reality or make you doubt yourself are futile. You've already won the game. All that's left is to continue living on your own terms, unaffected, and free. When you stop reacting, stop seeking validation, and stop doubting your own worth, you become untouchable. Not because you fought, but because you've simply refused to participate in their game. That's the highest form of mastery, and that's where your power resides, in your ability to remain unshaken, no matter how hard they try. As you progress in this mastery, you begin to notice the subtle changes in your environment. People start to perceive you differently, not as someone to manipulate, but as someone whose presence demands respect. The energy you project shifts. It's no longer one of compliance or neediness. Instead, it's a steady, unwavering force. You no longer wait for validation, nor do you seek approval. Your actions, your words, your silence, all convey a singular message. You are in control, and nothing can sway you. Manipulators may still attempt their tricks, but now their methods feel like a slow drip, insignificant and powerless against your impenetrable resolve. They may try to undermine your confidence, plant seeds of doubt, or create confusion, but your response is the same: silence. You refuse to engage with their attempts to destabilize you. This non-response is your shield. Every word they throw at you only bounces off, revealing their desperation. The more you embody this detachment, the more you'll see how people who once attempted to manipulate you start to distance themselves. They realize you are no longer a safe target. Their usual strategies become transparent, and they either adapt or withdraw. Those who cannot understand your strength may attempt to question your motives, but this is a sign of their weakness, not yours. You've become a force they can no longer control. Those around you will begin to change as well. Some will see your inner strength and be drawn to it. They will admire your ability to stand firm, to be unshaken by outside forces. Others, however, will feel uncomfortable in your presence. They will realize that they can no longer pull the strings, and in their discomfort, they may try to provoke you, to challenge your calm. But this too is another form of weakness on their part. They seek to provoke a reaction because they no longer have access to your emotional state. But the key is this: when you recognize their efforts as a mirror of their desperation, you see them for what they truly are: people who derive their power from manipulating others. And in doing so, you take the last step toward freedom. You stop seeing them as adversaries to fight, but as reflections of your past self, lost in the game, seeking something outside themselves to fill the void. Your true power lies not in battling them, but in acknowledging that their game is beneath you. You simply no longer play. And as long as you remain in this state of detachment and clarity, your power is not only secured but amplified. It becomes a quiet, unspoken force that commands respect without ever having to demand it. What remains is a life lived on your terms. You are no longer subject to the whims of others, no longer swayed by the external chaos of manipulation, guilt, or emotional warfare. You choose your actions, your responses, and most importantly, you choose your peace. This unshakable calm becomes the foundation of everything you do. And as you walk forward, you leave behind only the echoes of those who tried and failed to control you. You've broken free from the manipulation that once held you captive. You now walk as someone who understands the game but no longer participates in it. You've learned that the true power is not in conquering others. It's in conquering yourself, your reactions, and your need for validation. That is the ultimate freedom. That is the ultimate victory. If this message opened your eyes, gave you strength, or reminded you of your power, don't just scroll away. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, because here we don't teach you how to please people. We teach you how to own yourself so no one else can.